The winter wind rattled the glass walls of Frost Industries, a towering symbol of power and precision in the heart of Manhattan. Inside its gleaming lobby, the world moved with the rhythm of polished shoes on marble, clipped conversations, and the faint electronic hum of elevators gliding up and down their tracks. But at the very top floor of the building are past the gold-lettered nameplates, the private lounges, and the soundproofed conference rooms a man sat motionless in a chair that was both a throne and a prison. Nathaniel Frost, CEO of Frost Industries, had once been the kind of man who dominated a room by standing in it. At 52, he had built his empire from scratch, turning an inherited manufacturing plant into a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. Photographs of him shaking hands with presidents, giving TED Talks, and cutting ribbons at hospitals lined his office walls. But now, Nathaniel was paralyzed from the waist down, the result of a freak car accident 18 months earlier. He moved through his days with the hard precision of a man who would not let tragedy break him. But the truth was that every minute since the accident felt like a negotiation with despair. Across the office, the door clicked shut. His personal assistant entered quietly and set down a folder. "The janitor, sir," she said, glancing at him cautiously. "Daniel Reyes." "You asked for him?" "Yes," Nathaniel said. His voice was cool and measured. "Send him in." Minutes later, Daniel Reyes appeared in the doorway, holding his cap in one hand, a mop handle in the other. 38 years old, lean from years of manual labor, Daniel carried himself with the subdued dignity of someone used to being invisible. His daughter, Sophia, trailed close behind, clutching a tattered paperback book to her chest. At 12, she had a soft cascade of dark curls and eyes far older than her years. Nathaniel's gaze flicked to the girl, then back to Daniel. "I didn't ask for her. She's sick," Daniel said quietly. "I couldn't leave her alone at home today. I'll make sure she stays in the hall." Nathaniel's jaw tightened. "Fine." "Close the door." Daniel ushered Sophia to a chair by the wall. She sat obediently, swinging her legs and watching the two men with open curiosity. Nathaniel gestured toward the opposite side of the desk. "Mr. Reyes, I've had multiple reports about neglected maintenance on this floor. Dirty windows, unsecured cables in the server room. This building is worth hundreds of millions. If you can't manage your responsibilities, sir." "I can," Daniel said, his voice steady but respectful. "We've been short-staffed. I've been doing double shifts." Nathaniel narrowed his eyes. He was used to employees bowing to his authority, not looking him in the eye. "Do you know how many people would kill for this job?" Daniel said nothing. He thought about the nights he'd worked through his exhaustion, about Sophia's medical bills piling up, about how he'd kept this job not for pride but survival. He thought about the last time he'd been summoned to an executive office and how it had cost him a position at another company. But he also thought about Sophia's words last night when he'd confessed his fear of losing his job. "You always help people, Papa. Maybe someone will help us one day." Nathaniel leaned forward. "I'm giving you one more week to show improvement. If not, you're done. Understand?" Sophia's small voice floated across the room. "You're in pain." Both men turned. She had spoken softly, as though stating an obvious fact. Nathaniel blinked. "Excuse me?" "You're in pain," she said again. "Your back hurts." "All the time." Nathaniel's mouth went dry. "How would you know that?" She tilted her head. "Because you hold your breath before you move. And your eyes go like these." As she mimicked a tight squint. "My grandpa did that before he died." Daniel hissed softly. "Sophia," but she kept speaking. "You're not mean," she said. "You're sad. I can help you." The room was utterly still. Nathaniel stared at her, his composure cracked. In all his years of boardrooms and negotiations, no one had ever spoken to him like these, certainly not a child. His hands tightened on the armrests of his chair. "Help me?" "How?" Sophia rose from her chair and stepped closer, her small hand hovering over the edge of his desk. "I learn from my papa. He says when people hurt, you help first and ask later. I know how to make pain softer." "I can't make your legs work," she added, "but I can help you feel better." Nathaniel's heart thumped against his ribs. He'd been through every physical therapist money could buy, endured needles, heat packs, even experimental nerve treatments. Nothing had lessened the burning ache in his lower back. He'd become a fortress of skepticism. And yet, Something in this child's tone or quiet authority beyond her years made him hesitate. Daniel stepped forward, flustered. "Sir, she's just a kid. She's been learning massage techniques for her own therapy as she has a neurological condition. She likes to pretend she's helping." Nathaniel's eyes softened. "What condition?" Daniel swallowed. "She was born with a degenerative nerve disorder. The doctors aren't sure how it will progress. She's a broken bar special." Sophia placed her hands together. "Let me try, please." For reasons he couldn't explain, Nathaniel nodded. "All right." Sophia walked behind the wheelchair. Her small hands settled lightly at the base of his spine. Her touch was surprisingly sure, finding pressure points he hadn't realized were there. She pressed gently, kneaded, shifted, then paused. Nathaniel drew in a sharp breath. A warmth spread upward through his back. Not pain exactly, but a sensation of release. His shoulders dropped, tension unwinding like a coil. He closed his eyes. For the first time in months, his breathing slowed without conscious effort. When she finally stepped back, he turned to look at her, eyes bright. "What a broken bar. What did you do?" She shrugged. "I listened." Daniel's cheeks flushed with embarrassment. "I'm sorry, sir." "She shouldn't have here." Nathaniel raised a hand. "Stop. Don't apologize." He looked at Sophia again. "You said you would heal me." She nodded solemnly. "I can try more. It takes time." Nathaniel leaned back, something like hope flickering in his chest. He had called this man in to fire him. Now he was thinking about hiring them both. In the days that followed, Nathaniel arranged for Daniel to work only on his floor and allowed Sophia to accompany him under the guise of family care leave. Quietly, without telling the board, he began receiving daily therapy sessions from the girl. Each time her small hands worked along his spine, the chronic ache lessened, his posture straightened, and a sense of calm he hadn't known in years spread through him. He found himself talking to Daniel more as well about his upbringing, about Sophia's treatments, about the quiet dignity of custodial work. For the first time since the accident, Nathaniel felt his walls cracking. He noticed details about Daniel he'd ignored before: the meticulous way he organized his cart, the gentle way he spoke to his daughter, the spark of intelligence in his eyes. But not everyone at Frost Industries was pleased. Rumors began to circulate among the executives, the CEO spending time with the janitor, the little girl allowed in secure areas, whispers of favoritism and strange therapy. Some worried about liability, others about optics. One evening, Nathaniel overheard two vice presidents speculating that Daniel was manipulating him. He summoned Daniel to his office. "They're saying you're using your daughter to get to me." Daniel's face went pale. "That's not true. She broken bar. She just wants to help. I never asked for anything." Nathaniel studied him. "What would you want if you could?" Daniel's eyes flicked to Sophia's medical records on the desk. "I'd want her to get the treatment we can't afford. I'd want her to have a future." Nathaniel exhaled slowly. "Then let me give you both the chance." Weeks passed. Under Sophia's care, Nathaniel's pain decreased to the point that he began to regain partial sensation in his legs, something his doctors had said was nearly impossible. He started physical therapy again, this time believing it might work. At the same time, he began drawing Daniel into company discussions, asking his opinion on workplace conditions, employee wellness, and efficiency. Daniel, surprised, offered insights born of years in the trenches. Some of his ideas saved the company thousands of dollars in waste and maintenance costs. But just as Nathaniel's body began to heal, the company faced a crisis. A competitor launched a smear campaign alleging unsafe working conditions at Frost Industries. The media pounced. Nathaniel's board threatened to oust him if he didn't act swiftly. Late one night, while the skyscraper slept, Nathaniel sat in his office staring at the city lights. Daniel appeared at the doorway, mop in hand. "You're here late," Daniel said softly. "So are you," Nathaniel replied. Daniel hesitated, then said, "When I lost my wife, I thought my world was over. But Sophia needed me. So I got up, one foot after the other." "That's what you're doing now." "One foot after the other." Nathaniel turned to him, gratitude flickering in his tired eyes. "You're more than a janitor, Daniel." Daniel shrugged. "We're all more than we seem." Sophia appeared then, rubbing her eyes. "Papa, come home." Nathaniel smiled at her. "You're a brave girl," he said. "You've given me my life back." She looked at him and said simply, "Now you give it back to the people who work here." And in that moment, Nathaniel realized the heart of his company wasn't steel or numbers, it was people like Daniel and Sophia. And perhaps, if he acted with the same kindness they had shown him, he could save more than just himself.